In his video, Why You Are Not a Soft Atheist, Jericomovie makes the distinction between a hard atheist and a soft atheist. A hard atheist, he says, claims affirmatively that God does not exist. That is, they make the positive claim to the effect that God does not exist. A soft atheist claims that they have not yet received the evidence in order to believe in God's existence. Jericomovie argues that since atheism is an ism, it, like all isms, must make a positive claim. Soft atheism, however, makes no positive claims. He argues, therefore, that lacking evidence or sufficient evidence to believe in God doesn't make the soft atheist an atheist, but rather a skeptic about God's existence. He concludes, therefore, that soft atheism is not atheism at all. Now, I am somewhat new to the debates on YouTube about hard and soft atheism, so I don't know if hard and soft atheism correlates to a distinction that I'm a bit more familiar with between positive and negative atheism. But I do think what I say in this video bears on the distinction between positive and negative atheism. I also know that Richard Dawkins discussed these matters in his book, The God Delusion, but I cannot remember the particulars. So if anything I say bears on Dawkins' discussion, it will be purely accidental. I also won't be making any explicit connection in my analysis to statements like, I don't know if there is no God, but I don't believe God exists, although I think my analysis will have some ramifications for statements like that. But I do want to make this observation. It seems to me that people who hold a position like Jericomovie's place the locus of significance in what people claim to know about the existence or non-existence of things, and don't place the locus of significance in what people claim to believe about the existence or non-existence of things. That strikes me as problematic because it seems to me that it is perfectly meaningful and consistent for people to believe or disbelieve in hypothetical things without claiming to know whether or not they exist. For example, I believe a physicist could meaningfully say, I strongly believe dark matter exists, but I don't know that it exists, given that the existence of dark matter seems necessitated to account for some anomalies in galactic rotation, but there is yet no experimental verification of the existence of dark matter. I place the locus of significance in what people claim to believe about the existence or non-existence of things, especially hypothetical things, recognizing, as I hope to demonstrate, that belief can have varying degrees of confidence. Now for my analysis. I believe that instead of analyzing the functions of suffixes like ism, we should examine the plethora of linguistic practices that people engage in when they make claims about the existence or non-existence of things. I'm not convinced that suffixes alone tell us what people really believe, especially when people tell us and sometimes describe in painstaking detail what they really believe. Okay, what are some of the linguistic practices people engage in when they make claims about the existence or non-existence of things? There are claims about things whose existence is inconceivable. Claims about the existence of things whose existence is inconceivable would be claims which either rely on or result in a contradiction. The claim that the square circle exists would be an example. If someone believed the statement God exists involves a contradiction, then such a person would clearly qualify as a hard atheist. Yet I must confess that, although I am an atheist, it is not clear to me how one could justifiably argue that the claim God exists either relies on or results in a contradiction. Next, there are claims about things whose existence is so highly improbable that affirming their non-existence is rational and justifiable. These are things whose existence is not inconceivable, but there is no good evidence or reason for believing in their existence. Affirming the non-existence of unicorns is an example. Few would claim that the person who claims unicorns do not exist is not entitled to make such a claim simply because they don't think the existence of unicorns is inconceivable. As long as the person believes that the existence of unicorns is so highly improbable that affirming their non-existence is rational and justifiable, most would hold that such a person could claim positively that unicorns don't exist with a degree of affirmation that is more than mere skepticism about the existence of unicorns. Many atheists seem to fit this description. I am one of them. They believe God's existence is highly improbable, though not inconceivable. It seems to me that these people can justifiably claim that God does not exist with a degree of affirmation that is more than mere skepticism about the existence of God. As such, I would classify them as hard atheists. Next, there are claims about things whose existence is doubtful. These are things claimed to exist, the evidence or reason for which is either unconvincing and/or the evidence or reason for believing in its non-existence is convincing. The doubtfulness of the existence of these things doesn't rise to the level of the highly improbable. A person who ascribes to this standard might admit that there are some extant reasons or evidence that could, taken alone, lead one to the conclusion that some X does exist, but that there is either more evidence or reasons or more convincing evidence or reasons for the non-existence of some X. Such a person might make claims like, on the whole, there is more justification to believe that X doesn't exist than that X does exist. It seems to me that there are some atheists like this. These atheists might say, I am almost convinced by such and such argument for the existence of God, but I am more convinced by the reasons and evidence for not believing in the existence of God. It seems to me that atheists like this qualify as soft atheists. Finally, there are claims about things whose existence is not known. The factors for the unknowableness of the existence of these things could be many. One could hold that while a case could be made that positing the existence of the thing is somehow required, there is to date no or insufficient evidence for the existence of the thing. Some of the hypothetical particles and forces of physics are possible examples. One could also hold that the reasons for believing in the existence of the thing are offset by the reasons for not believing in the thing, and vice versa. It seems to me that people do think this way about the existence of God. But since this person makes no kind of positive statement about believing in the non-existence of God, I do not think that we should call these people atheists. We should call them agnostics. Undoubtedly, there are more permutations about the kinds of claims that can be made about believing in the existence or non-existence of something, and I am not capturing all of them. But I do think that the permutations I have outlined are valid, and they bear on the kinds of claims people can make about God's existence or non-existence. I think the variety of these kinds of claims make the distinction between hard and soft atheism a valid one, and we should not try to dismiss one of the distinctions as invalid in favor of the other. Thank you.